So the idea is that we're going to do 2 back-to-back coaching sessions, and just have it be a real coaching session. So the the environment that I'm trying to create with the 3 of us is that, you each would have a turn. And then when the other person is being coached, then the person not being coached is sort of a witness and a space holder. And I mean, I'm all about like positivity and like hyping each other up. And so as you're like watching the other person be coached, maybe you could take a note or two on just something that, you know, you, um, you notice about them, about the way that they think about things, the way that they carry themselves, like what an observation about their sort of medicine and their unique way of being in the world. And so that at the end, you can kind of reflect that back to them as well. Um, so each person, okay, so it's 10 a.m. Pacific now. I've booked us out for 2 hours. So let's say each person has about 45 to 50 minutes. We'll take a break in between. Um, and kind of knowing like, within that, let's say hour-ish time, like you can go pretty deep. Um, I'd rather go deep on one specific thing than try to tackle 20 things in your life. And then also know that this, just as a reminder, this session is being recorded for everyone. So thank you guys also, the world. The one I did last week, which was really fun, was for members only. And so that was sort of like, okay, there's only 40 people like watching, like it's fine, but this one is like, could be more, although it ends up being like a 2+ hour video. So I don't really know. I don't know if YouTube likes that or not, but we'll see. Um, so yeah, and I think just to provide a little more context, like, what I really hope for you guys is that, through the coaching that you feel seen and heard, that you feel supported, and that we may not like solve it, right? But we will be able to, we just want your awareness of the situation, or give you new perspectives, so that ultimately, whether it's tomorrow or 3 weeks from now or 3 years from now, you can take more confident, decided action towards like whatever it is that you're trying to do. Um, okay, so that being said, any thoughts, questions?
Well, one thought is just seeing the members only video first really helped me to get some clarity around like, oh, now I have a clear idea of what to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you also for watching it. I saw your comment. You're like 12 minutes in. I'm already.
I think I missed that one. I thought you were talking about the one with the 4 videos together. You're gonna
Oh,
finish.
no. I don't worry, you didn't miss it. I just posted it so I did another session like this with the 2 other
Okay.
volunteers. Um,
Okay.
and that
Oh,
one I recorded Friday. So I
oh,
released
okay,
that
okay,
on
okay.
so a couple days ago. I released that on Friday, and that one was members only. So
Okay, I'm
yeah,
jealous. Benjamin has a leg up. He did some intel.
it's good. It'll be totally good though. Okay. Why don't we do you each want to introduce yourself to each other so that you know who the other person is?
Yes,
Yeah,
I can go first if you want, Benjamin.
sure.
So my name's Roxana Feenster. I'm located right now in somewhere close to Baltimore, Maryland, right outside Rosedale, Maryland. I am a freelancer right now. I've been encouraged by someone that we're with right now to kind of just move forward with working on my own. So I'm transitioning to that by the end of this month, which will be in 10 days. So in a
Hmm.
real tangible way, I'm taking that leap of faith, doing my own little consulting. And right now I am open to all the things. and a lot of life transitions. So that's just a little bit about me.
Cool. What type of consulting, or just like is it
So
a certain
right now
industry,
it's
or?
like, I don't know. It's like transitional because I'm doing event planning for one client, I'm doing administrative support for another. So I don't know where it's going to land. And my husband also wants to get into IT support for in cybersecurity. He's already a corporate cybersecurity person and has government contracts through his job, but he wants to definitely do his own thing as well. So just seeing how we can like expand that out. I didn't want to start another separate company. So I was like, how can we like have these services for people that are maybe coaches, small businesses that need cyber support, that need some operation support without having to have like a whole team. That was the idea behind it for me, but I'm still in flux with that. That
That's
sounds shady.
No, that's
Yeah, no, that's awesome. We kind of have that in common. Like, so I do web design and graphic
Okay.
design, and just like helping small businesses, because usually it's like you start to help them with something and then they're like, "Oh, you're good with computers. How about
Right.
this other thing? How about this IT thing?" So yeah, there's a lot with IT, just like getting everyone on the same antivirus and
Right.
um, but yeah, so basically my short version of my story is like I have lived in this town, Corvallis, Oregon, for the last 10 years. Before that, I'm from Eugene, where Mandy's living.
Okay.
And
I didn't know you were from Eugene. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, I lived there for like 10 years before, but I moved around a lot growing up. Um, but yeah, so I am pretty much like mixed media, like digital artist. I like drawing and painting and doing all sorts of different stuff. And I quit my job without a backup plan like 8 months ago, and I've just been trying to put together some sort of freelancer thing, figuring out as I go along. But it's actually been a really good period of time to kind of work that all out, which like I just wouldn't have been able to do that if I was working at the same time. And so, and I'm looking for a regular job at this point, because like realistically, I'm just going to need to do that because like growing a business can take a really long time. But at least now I'm like set up that it's just like in motion. I just have to keep it going on the side, and maybe one day it'll grow into something.
Benjamin, we have that in common. So mine was a year ago. I just knew I was done. It's like, I need to get the hell out of here. Get out. I just had to do it and didn't really had a plan, and then found a job and it was a toxic situation. Glad I got out and just been kind of figuring it out, had a part-time to get me through. But like you were saying, like you can only do so much if you are committed to whatever hours, even though it was only 24, it was still kind of like, if I want to call small business association or do any of the things, like some of the stuff you need to go there or just dedicate time, and I couldn't do it. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
All right. So, do either of you feel like you want to go first?
Well, I
it does.
maybe I'm a little better prepared since I watched that other video. I don't know. I feel like I can just hop straight into it if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me set my little timer because otherwise I'll just go into the abyss. Okay.
Okay. So I did do a lot of journaling to try to work out just like
Okay,
there's so,
good.
so many different things to talk about, and I'm just like, how can I phrase this in a way that not just is like helpful but also like cohesive and not like too many topics. Um, so first of all, so it's like kind of two things. So first of all, like I'm trying to reach a better sense of closure about leaving my last job because I keep coming back to it because I pretty much had to make a bad decision no matter what. It was just one of those situations where no matter what decision you make, it's going to be a bad decision. So I made like the least bad decision, which was to quit. But I keep like second guessing it and coming back to it, and I'm just like not putting it behind me. Part of that is because I haven't moved on to something else yet, which would like be a distraction at least. Um, but when you go through this like really toxic stuff, it just like lives with you for a long time.
Right.
Um, and it's just like emotional bandwidth that I don't have and just want to move on from it. And so then the second thing is like after going through all this, it just sort of leaves me sort of like nervous about taking another job, which I'm gonna have to do. So just like strategizing around like how do you enter a new environment where presumably there's going to be some very difficult situations and whether it's like a toxic micromanager or whatever the case may be. But just like, how do you go into that and maintain your sense of self and not feeling like you're living like a version of yourself, which I think comes down to like, how do you maintain your creativity and the stuff that like really gives you life?
Yeah.
Okay. So any questions about any of that before I like get into my little 5-year backstory?
No, I think that it's very self-aware that you're recognizing the emotional piece of all of this. So please keep going.
Okay, so I moved to Corvallis 10 years ago to take this job at
Mm-hmm.
and it was like fine. I was there for 6 years. Um, and but towards the end of 2019, um, I started to become more aware that my supervisor was like bullying a few of my coworkers in pretty nasty ways. And I was like, that's not okay. And there was this one particular incident where I had this coworker who had MS. And so she had to be hospitalized and go on protected medical leave. And then she came back to work, and our supervisor assigned her to a totally different delivery route. She was like a transporter. And it was
Mm-hmm.
very much a like, screw you for taking medical leave. I'm going to put you in a different job now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it seemed unethical, and I was like, okay, well, so I looked into it, and so the if someone comes back from protected leave, they have to go back into their exact same job if it's at all possible to do that. So it was illegal what happened. So and I was like involved with the union at this point. I was like the membership coordinator, talking to people in the new employee orientation, and I was a union steward. So I was like, okay, I'm going to file a grievance for you. So went through that process, got her job back. But then the supervisor on that first day back, she was like, "Well, I'm going to reassign you to this other route anyway, just because I can and because I want to." Um, so anyway, that it never totally got resolved, but so then COVID hits, and of course there's a target on my back now, which like I knew that was going to happen. I didn't make this choice without accepting like, yeah, I'll probably lose my job over this because this is how our supervisor operates. But yeah, she was immediately like, "Oh, COVID, great. Well, it's time to lay off Benjamin because like his work has just totally disappeared." Um, and so yeah, long story short, like um, did reach a legal settlement because I was saying like, well, this is illegal retaliation and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's the situation I came out of, just like super awful manager there. Um, so then I find this job in um, e-commerce and like manufacturing, and it's like great at first, but um, I do notice some like warning signs of like, so the first thing was like, so my boss there, like the owner, would like bring in her dog to work, and sometimes it would like run loose all over the place, like oops, and I love dogs, like that's not a problem, but it was very much like this, like I am the owner, therefore I can do whatever I want, and
Mm-hmm.
rules for thee, not for me. Um, and so then I get to my 90-day interview and or review, And she says, your job performance is great, but just so you know, like if you ever wanted to be a politician, that's not something you'd ever be able to do because you're not extroverted enough. And I'm like, what does that have to do with my job performance? Um, and so
That
it's
was like a coded way of them saying stop making a stop, like that was a coded way of them saying quiet down.
yeah, that sounds about right, actually. Um, because like
Basically they're saying you don't have poker face. Like you say what's on your mind, and we know you see the discrepancy in the way that we are showing up as leaders and owners of this company, and we know you're calling us out, and we don't like that.
yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way, but no, you're right. And that's because like having come out of that my previous job, like I was just like hyper aware, like, look, I'm not going to put up with anything. And it's not that I'm like aggressive or anything, but I'm just like, look, I'm not going to like, you know, like don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then, more stuff happens. There's like a fair amount of like sexism and ageism. Like we go through a round of hiring and I'm going to call her Barb. It's not a real name, but she was like saying that well, it's really hard for me to hire men because I really prefer working with women. Um, so yeah, I really have to go out of my way to make sure to hire men sometimes. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to engage with that, but there's like so many problems with that statement. And then, another, performance review, she's telling me, you need to tell your female coworkers that they're doing a good job because like women are more sensitive and they really just need that positive reinforcement. I'm like, again, like I'm not going to engage with this, but like that's pretty problematic. Um, and so then like kind of towards the end, like she calls me in and says, "You're being unprofessional." And like as your mentor, I just need you to know that like that's something you need to work on. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, you're not my mentor. And two, what is it that I did that was unprofessional? Oh, well, I can't really think of any examples off the top of my head, but if you go and talk to HR, she'll give you like 15 examples of ways that you could be more professional.
Okay.
So then we actually do have a little mediated meeting with HR person because she's like, what's going on? Um, and so then my boss, and this is practically the last straw at this point, she says, well, I'm just gonna say it. You're pig-headed. And I'm like,
What?
and like, so I didn't know what pig-headed meant because people don't say that very often. So I had
I
to
mean,
look
I
it up
kind of know what does
afterwards.
that mean?
It means stupidly stubborn.
Oh.
And again, like no specific incidences that I did that she was talking about, but she was like, well, it's okay for me to call you pig-headed because when I was younger and like earlier in my career and like immature, I was pig-headed too. So I know how to like identify it. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And like you said, like it's really just because like I state my opinion and sometimes it's not her opinion. And that's like all it
Yeah.
comes down
Yeah.
to. It's just this attitude of like, I'm the owner, everyone has to fall in line with what I'm doing, nobody's allowed to question it. And I'm like, well, I'm not like that. I'm not going to like change to become this like different personality that you want when I'm just not like that.
Right.
So anyway, I leave, I quit, and I actually did continue freelancing for them for
Okay.
like, 15, 20 hours a week. And that went on for like 5 months or so. So it's nice. It's like we can work together. It's okay. Like there's plenty of good things about that company that I really want them to succeed and everything. And I'm still doing a little bit of work for them sometimes. Um, but yeah, I was just like, yeah, I think I need to work for myself for a little while and just take a breather because like I just went through like 10 years of like really toxic work situations and I just kind
Yeah.
of need to unpack that. I've like read several like self-help books, about how to like, I mean, the other thing is like I kind of grew up with a emotionally immature parent. So, reading the book about that was
You
really
read that book? Yeah.
helpful. Yeah. Um,
Love that book.
and then there's this other book, This Isn't Working for Me, is what the book is called. And the
Oh,
point of that book is like when you're in these difficult relationships, you can't expect the other person to change, and the only thing that you can change is yourself, which is like hard to accept, but it actually is to the point that like if you do change like how you interact with people and try to befriend this person who's being toxic or whatever, then that can actually change the situation. Like that's the most effective lever you have to actually get to a better place. And it's like, yeah, it would have been good to know that at the time. But, so I look back on it and I'm like, I didn't have to quit. Like now I'm like very financially insecure. It's like the job market sucks. And, um, so I was just like, well, what if I made the other bad decision? Would that have been better? And I just keep coming back to it. And I'm just like, I just don't feel over it. And, for just like lots of other reasons, I'm not going to get into all the reasons why, but so yeah, I'm just trying to get to a point of just like accepting that it was the right decision. Like I know intellectually it was the right decision to quit, and it's not I you can't go back on it or anything, but it just is like this feeling that never goes away of like I wish it hadn't gone down this way. Um,
talk about that feeling a little more. So the feeling that's like, I wish it hadn't gone down that way. That feeling that's a little bit questioning, like tell us about that part.
yeah, I actually crossed out tons of words because like I don't know if there's like one word to describe it, but so first I wrote down regret. But that's not quite it because it's not that I regret it exactly, but it's a feeling of rejection. Like I felt rejected, like we don't accept you for who you are and we need you to be someone else.
Yeah.
And then like grieving about what could have been, and then remorse. Um, so yeah, it's a lot of mixed emotions for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me try to just summarize what I've heard, and then we can kind of go through it that way. Okay. So it sounds like so this is like over the span of 10 years, right? So let's say 2015 to now. In between COVID happened. So there's like a rupture in like the time space continuum, right? But
Yeah.
like basically what you're describing is like these two kind of back-to-back experiences which have a lot of similarities, and the first one is that you're working at this organization where you're not the direct um like the injustice of the person who took medical leave and then had to come back and then was like reassigned, like that didn't happen to you, but you're the person who took a stand for it, and there were repercussions for you. um and I think maybe the reason that you don't have as much like emotional like that one still stings, but I feel like because there was something like the honor of you standing up and being like, this isn't right, and then like there's no question that you did the right thing, right, in reality and probably in your mind as well. The second situation, I think the reason why it like well, I don't know exactly why it's staying so much, but that's maybe what we can explore. But okay, so in that situation though, it was like you came into it already with a certain level of just awareness or vigilance, where you were okay, I'm not trying to like I feel like your vision of an idealized workplace, like the bubble had already been burst. So you just were like, listen, if I see something, I'm not going to put up with it. Like that, I mean, probably in life too. You're just not someone who like suffers fools, or you're not someone who's gonna like give false praise. Like you're just, if someone's great, you'll say you're great. If they're not, you'll be like, that's kind of shitty. Like that's probably your personality. So in that situation though, it's like, I mean, again, you were in a situation where you witnessed, you know, I'll call it a certain amount of tyrant behavior, right? Especially when you have these like high growth small companies that are run by individuals, right? Oftentimes if it's a successful company, they have been rewarded by, you know, they're growing, they're making money, like people like them, right? And so there's very little consequence for their behavior. They're like the king of their own little castle. And so you come in and you're kind of like, hey, this thing's a little broken. Hey, how come there's like double standard? Um, and the the little queen of the castle doesn't like it. They're just like, why are you like, you are here to help me build my empire. You are not here to do anything other than just like help me grow and take over. So I think that one also stings because I mean, the pig-headed stuff is just really mean and is really like very hurtful. Like it's like so mean. And it's disguised as I mean the whole mentor thing is just it's them trying to be like, oh, I'm being like extremely cruel to you, but I can be because someone was cruel to me before, so it's really not that cruel and I can take it, so therefore you should be able to take it.
Yeah, well, that's another thread of this is like before she bought this company, she worked in corporate for 15 years and was like around all that toxic masculinity. And I think that's where a lot of it is coming from.
And see, so even in, you have empathy for the situation, like you're literally providing context as to why she would act this way. Okay, so let me ask you a hypothetical question, and then, well, okay, before I go there, when I described it, like, how did that feel? Was it accurate to you? Do you feel like I've missed anything so far?
No, that's a good recap for sure. And yeah, I mean, obviously there's more I'm not saying. Like, so one of the reasons why it's hard is because 3 months after I left, she announced that she was going to stop managing marketing and she was going to move to Wisconsin and not be there anymore. And like, well, I wish I would have known that because then I wouldn't have freaking quit. Like that would have solved basically all of the issues. So it was just like a personality thing. Like, oh, I don't want someone like you in my company. You know, that's what it feels like. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's accurate, but
See, okay, let me ask you a hypothetical question. What would you, and this is like a weird question, so it'll be hard to answer, but just like say whatever comes to your mind. Like, what would you need to have 100% certainty that you made the right decision? Do you need her to be meaner to you? Like, what do you need? What do you need to really know in your whole body that like absolutely?
yeah, I guess I haven't thought about that. You know, I've sort of accepted like I'm never gonna know. Like, I don't know if I can go back and see how things would have played out differently. Because like maybe if I, you know, maybe if I had stayed there, then she wouldn't have quit and it just would have been a completely different situation. Um, I think I think what I'm after is more just like ex being able to like actually feel that like, despite things being messy, that it's okay and like maybe not having closure is fine, I guess. And I don't want to set an unrealistic expectation of like finding complete certainty, just knowing that life isn't really like that a lot of the time.
Well, I want to like set up some contrast for you. Okay. So, and I'm going to talk very highly of you, not to let it get to your head, but to just like show you a perspective. Okay. I'm going to paint you as the hero because that's just how I'm seeing it. But also, maybe you are the villain in somebody's story. I don't know. Okay.
Right, fair.
But let's assume in this story that you're the hero. Like you are someone who is really big hearted. And I think the reason you are returning to this is because you have a tendency to want to repair. Like you want to leave on good terms. You don't want to leave any stone unturned, and you're actually taking accountability. You're like, what if I had done this? What if I had said this? What if I had just kept my big mouth shut? Like what if I had, like, you're racking your brain thinking of all the ways that you could have maybe made a little bit of a different decision or showed up differently, and then you wouldn't have this feeling, and then you'd feel more financially secure because you'd still be there. You wouldn't even be talking to me right now. So there's that. Okay, that's like you, all right? But then in contrast, and let's take the archetype of this, kind of egotistical boss, right? Someone like that is not reflecting. They're not thinking, what could I have done different? What could I have done better? How can I hire people to make sure that this doesn't happen again? How can I be a better leader? How can I be a better manager? No, they're literally thinking like, where am I going to go on vacation next? Like they're not thinking about it. Right. And so you're putting so much of your time and energy because you're a good person and because you care. But it's very similar to that adult children of emotionally immature parents book, where the whole, and like that book like is shattering, right? Because the whole message is like, when you're dealing with a narcissistic parent, when you're dealing with a narcissistic boss, right, you will never have that you will never have that closure, because they don't have that capability of self-reflection and of repair, right? The parent thing is a little different because you still probably want to have them in your life. And you know how that book just says like, oh, you have to negotiate a way to just like coexist, but not expect them to be the certain way, right?
Right.
Like, but with a boss, it's like, no, you really can choose to just be like, I don't want to be around them again. And like, that's fine. Um, so that's like one piece of it. What comes up for you when I say that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I that's, as I was navigating, before I left, I was very much like setting up all these conversations and mediated discussions, like let's really work this out. Let's like really try to find some way to make this work. Specifically is asking for like I want to be able to work more independently. So, because like she was like a micromanager, and I also just want better consistency because it was just like, she'll come in like I had this idea the night before, and I just let's do this new thing that isn't really well thought out. And I was the person to be like, well, how about we like do some market research first and like figure out if that is the best option.
Yeah.
Like, um, but yeah, I mean, the whole pig-headed discussion where that came up was like that was like um let's like make some commitments to each other, and like and I was in it like, okay, yeah, I accept that like I've done these things wrong, here's what I'm going to work on, But in retrospect, she never said anything to that effect, you know.
Right. Right. So it's a one-sided commitment.
Right. Um, so like again, like I know intellectually quitting was the right decision. It just makes much more sense, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way. But like what would have to change in order to have that certainty? It would be something like, you know, a coworker or, the HR person or, you know, my former boss herself just saying like, look, we've thought about it and, we're sorry this happened. And, we see that it was like a bad situation for you. And, we just have some sort of sense of regret about it. Then I would feel a lot better and just being
Yeah.
like, okay, then I can like move on. But
Yeah.
it's just like sort of that lack of apology. Nobody was like, "Oh, we really want you to stay. What's it going to take to make that happen?" Not that I was expecting anyone to say that, but just to not get any sort of sense of like, "We want you here." Like that's
Yeah.
what's hard. And if I was to get that sense from like anyone I worked with, then it would be like, yeah, it's like then I wouldn't feel like I'm navigating this so on my own.
Yeah. I think you just hit it. I think that's the thing. And see, just one thought that occurred to me is like, because that's how you would have done it. Like if you had witnessed a coworker get pushed out and, you know, if you'd witnessed that, you would have been the person to pull them aside and be like, hey man, I'm really sorry. Like this sucks. Like you didn't do anything wrong. Like, and how do we know this? Because you literally did that at your last job, right? So, okay, you don't have to name a name, but who specifically, besides the boss, because anyone who's going to call anyone pig-headed, I just have zero expectation for any kind of emotional, But so, can you think of someone in your head that you were specifically disappointed? Like, hey, I thought we were friends. Like we used to get lunch together, and what? Now you're just ghosting. Like, does that person exist, or is there
Yeah,
someone specific?
yeah, of course, I'm not going to name names, but yeah, I wouldn't expect HR person because, of course, like HR is there to protect the company. I would never expect otherwise.
Yeah.
Although I do happen to really like this HR person. She's pretty great. Um, and she's actually been the most supportive of anyone. Um,
Which is huge, by the way, because if you can feel their support, and they're supposed to be new, they're like they do work for the company and they're supposed to be neutral, but if you can feel their support, I mean that's something. But was there someone that came to mind?
yeah, there's like, someone who's been with the company for a long time, has like worked with Barb for a super long time and understands her really well. And someone I respected, somebody I would love to be like managed by instead of her. And
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, we did have a little side discussion where she was like, look, I respect that you're like being self-aware and like making this decision for your mental health and taking action on that. It didn't feel like enough. It didn't feel like, like vouching for me in any way, like
Yeah.
trying to help the situation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and there's other people that would have been great, but I wouldn't necessarily expect them to
Yeah.
intervene in any way.
It's tough because in these kinds of companies, like, I'm not, it's like they're so far in drinking the Kool-Aid, and they're, especially if they're like long time loyalist type people who like know how to work with the founder, right? Sometimes those people can be the most walled off, because if they admit to you like any kind of emotional vulnerability or any kind of like, you know what, Benjamin, like that was really shitty. Like if they admit to you, then their whole like chain of logic disintegrates because they've built up all these reasons why like that behavior is acceptable for them to tolerate on a daily basis. And so that it's just they're never gonna be like hey, let's have a heart to heart, like let me tell you, you know.
Yeah, yeah, but they're also the people that maybe one day they have a total awakening and they just like move on and look back on it like, man, that was such a weird time of my life. Why was I like that, you know?
Yeah. And so maybe in 4 to 7 years that person will send you a text message and be like, hey, I'm really sorry I was like in that, you know, weird cave at that moment, you know. But I mean, what I'm hearing is like I feel that okay, let me ask you, do you feel like it was like what was the nature, because I'm sort of sitting in this thing that you talked about, which was like the you wanted more peace, like you were expecting a little bit more emotional reach out, you wanted a little bit more like it felt like a rejection, you know, where it was like, guys, like I really put my heart into this company, I worked really hard, I still work with you guys sometimes, you know, and it was like crickets, you know, it's a rejection, it's an emotion. So okay, here's my question, was it a surprise, or was it like, oh, we were all so tight and we were all like really close, and then when this happened I just felt like a cold shoulder, or was it always a little weird?
Well, I was really hopeful from the beginning because, you know, my first week there, they were very clearly saying, like, in this company, we work through our issues. Like, if you have some issue, we want to talk about it and we want to work through it. And so, you know, I got to the point of like, okay, well, I'll take you up on that. And it was just like, I think that was just words, you know?
I think it was just words.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, and what's hard about it is I really loved my job. It was just like what I did, the work I did was really enjoyable. And it was a good community, you know, pretty unique work culture. It is very much like drink the Kool-Aid, you know, you got to be one of us sort of thing. But it was like for what it was cool. You know, it's like all about sustainability and like they do good things. And, you know, th there's not enough made in America manufacturing, you know, and so that's cool. Um, but yeah, it's just all of there's so many good things about it, which is why it's hard because I'm like, what if I just had what if I was able to just focus on the good things and just block out the bad things? But then it would be like a mental block, right? Then it would just be like, you know, making excuses to adapt to it.
I think that I feel like you're someone who seeks truth and you're someone who lives in integrity. You saw things that were not correct, you voiced them, you put the integrity above the the pleasure of the leadership, you know, and for that there was a big consequence. um I don't think I don't think I think you did the right thing, and I don't think you could go back because I think you could never unsee what you saw. And I think it was just words. And I think you care a lot, and they did a lot of things to like hurt your feelings, and that stays with you. But if it wasn't this, Benjamin, if it wasn't like, oh, this one issue that you got into with someone, it would have been something else. What would have been, okay, if you were able to somehow move past this one issue where you had to go and have these mediated conversations, let's say that did end up being okay, what was the next in line? Like, what would be the next annoying thing that would like cause a big issue?
Yeah, I mean, it always would have been like that. I mean, one of the big reasons why it was very clear to me to quit was because I would come home just like raging and just like venting to my partner and sometimes super angry. And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I can't bring this home. Like, that's not.
Right. Yeah, absolutely not. And Roxana, I love your facial no, I just love it. It's so like I'm getting energy from it. I feel so supported. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Benjamin, you can't second guess this stuff because you have to believe that you can find it again and better, you know? I think part of you is like, oh, you know, it's like hard to find it's hard to find this stuff. And then what if it doesn't come around again? And I did have it so good. And like there were these great things that were sort of like lightning in a bottle, you know, in this community. And but like I'm just gonna say it, I feel like it's like fake. Like what community? Because when it really mattered, nobody stood up. I'm gonna tell you, I think that person at your first job, I think you changed their life. Like when you stood up for them and when you were like, I'm going to file a grievance for you, I think you changed their life.
Yeah, I mean, we're still good friends. And
Hello? See, that's what a good friend does. They stand up. That person is forever going to be like, I can't even believe what Benjamin did. He lost his job over it. I feel so bad. But that's like, you guys are going to be besties for life. So you didn't find one of those here. You didn't. Their loss.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so like you see like sort of situation I'm in now, like there's like it's a pattern at this point. It's just like one job to the next, and like I'm in this role. Like I can't not call out this stuff. And is there such thing as a job where there's like not going to be these types of issues? So I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I mean, the only one truly is like working for yourself.
yeah. But I mean, then of course you have you know, your bosses, your clients, but at least where, you know, in my perfect world, what I would have is like 10 to 12 clients. And then if one of them's bad, I drop them.
Well, you just drew the picture. That's exactly what it is. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it because I do think that I do think that here's what I think, Benjamin. I You can get a job, but maybe you can get a job, but this should not be like a thing that like I think you should switch it. Like before you were saying, and look, I already know what I'm asking is like huge, so I'll just say it, and either you'll pick it up now or you'll pick it up whenever you want to, but you got to switch it. Originally you were like, I'm gonna get a job and then maybe my side hustle will take off. Switch it. I'm gonna focus on my side hustle and maybe I'll get some part-time job that helps pay the bills. Because so okay, let me try to name the thing that you have. So you have this thing, okay, on the surface, people think it's about authority. It's not about authority. It's really about like integrity. Like you just want people to do what they say and say what they do. And when they don't, and when they act shady, it pisses you off. That's it. Like, so it's gonna be really tough to work for someone else unless it is an incredibly boring job where the you know where it's like a little more hands off, but you cannot work for people who are micromanagers. You cannot work for these small companies that want to eat your soul, you know? If you want to get some boring job where like you clock in, you clock out, and it's like 20 hours a week, fine. That would probably be okay. But a job where it's like either a very compressed environment or a very bureaucratic one, like an academic institution or something, right? Like it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So you know why it's a pattern is because you're not meant to be doing this. So the pattern will keep showing up. So if you were to like, okay, now I got another job and it's just that like another company and like there's a couple red flags and I don't really like the leadership, but a job is a job. Like we're going to be having the same conversation in 18 months. That's why the pattern keeps coming up because your need to be in integrity is not going to change. And you will continue to get pissed off by people who are like sketchy.
Yeah. Well, that's probably what I needed to hear. Because like I my focus has been on like how am I gonna adapt to a full-time job?
How are you going to get 10 clients so that you can make a living from that, and then so that you have the power to fire one, and then you know what I'm saying? Like for every 10 clients, one's going to be bad and one is going to give you trouble and one's going to be demanding. And guess what? You are the boss. And then you can say, hey, unfortunately, it looks like I'm not going to be able to continue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my life at this point is just applying for jobs and looking for freelance clients and, home renovations when I have nothing else to do. But yeah, it's really just like because I don't have enough money coming in, it just has to be just like the financial reality is just like whatever comes up first, I need to take it. And if it's bad, then I'll figure it out later and course correct. Um, and I don't want to like close any doors and whatever. But I mean, the thing is like I have been like trying out a lot of different ways to get out to clients
Mm.
and this is like what I've been going through the last couple weeks is like I've been trying to get myself to cold call potential web design clients, people that need a website. And I just won't do it. I don't want to do that.
No, it's too scary. That's too scary. So what's your okay, so you do graphic design, you do IT stuff. What's the thing that people call you, like your friends, your partner, your family? Um what's the thing that people always call you for help for?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much any computer stuff. Like I'll start doing web design for a small business and
Mhm.
then the sweet spot for me is like it's not that I like am super in love with web design. It's just something that I've done a long time and I'm good
Yeah.
at. But
Yeah.
what really gives me life is just helping people start their business and all of the technological stuff that goes into that is like hard to figure out when like you're focused on, you know, making products for your Etsy store or whatever it is, and you just need someone to like, market you online and like spruce up your website, bring in more traffic because of good SEO and all that stuff. Like I want to go into people's businesses and see all the things that they aren't, and then, helping them make more money by like, you know, helping them like set up all these processes to make
Yeah.
them more successful.
Yeah. I mean, you're lighting up. This is what you're naturally good at. You're like the problem solver, but also you seem to have a lot of knowledge and tricks around like marketing a business and like helping to propel a business forward so that they can focus on building product and not, you know, the other stuff, right? Which is like complicated and hard and like you have a brain for. I would push that. I feel like there's so much there. Do you have what okay, so you have one, how many clients do you have now?
I mean, um, I have like maybe 4 clients, but it's been really slow for the last couple months. Um, and so they're all people that'll come to me from time to time, but
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
not enough to be sustainable. And so I started running Google Ads a few days ago. It's not really working. I still need to figure it out, work it out. It's like hard. It's because I have a new website and it's like
Hmm.
doesn't have any traction. And it's also super, super competitive. Like web design, whether it's local or global, whatever, it's like insanely competitive. Um, and so I also have to be kind of open to like, well, do I need to pivot, you know? But yeah, it's just hard to figure out like obviously I have like so much to offer and like there I can help people in so many ways. Um, and usually when people are hiring a freelancer, they're like, we want the expert in this one thing. But like I'm all about being a generalist and like I
Yeah.
would just get bored if I was doing one thing.
Yeah. Well, I think also like your your magic is going to be in when you like meet a person because you're very trustworthy. So I feel like once people meet you and that's why when you start working with a client, they're like, "Oh wait, Benjamin, do you know how to do this?" And then you'll be like, "Yeah, I could do that." And then that's how it continues, right? So look, and don't underestimate, like you need to hype yourself up and remind yourself that like you do have four. Yes, it's like intermittent and it's like slow, but those are four people who have like taken the leap and said, yes, like we'll like we want your help, right? If you told me you had zero, I'd be like, okay, that's a little tough. But like, but you already like you already know a little bit of the formula of how to go from like stranger to client, right? So okay, I don't want to get into the minutia of like how to grow clients. I what I want to focus on is like shifting. Hold on, is it shifting? Let me think about this. Okay, I'm gonna, you know how like originally we were talking about the main challenge, which was like you just can't seem to like let go of this past it still has its like claws in you. Knowing yourself, if you had to like psychoanalyze yourself, what is going to be the thing that helps you move on? Do you have to get angry? Do you have to get like, do you just have to analyze it to death and then one day it just dies? Like what do you think is going to work for you?
I mean, I hate to say it, but like estrangement, and it's like, well,
That's true.
that's the reason why it's not going away is because like I'm still working for them. I'm still going to meetings with them, you know?
You're like you're still living with your ex.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I didn't show
Right.
up to the last meeting. I just like didn't tell them in advance. I was like, I just really don't feel like doing this, and I just didn't show up. And that was the first time I've ever done that. So like I'm there, like, and they were like, "Oh, we really wanted you there. What if we have questions?" And I'm like, I don't know how to put this to you, but like, no.
Okay, so Benjamin, here's the advice, and you already know this because you literally just said it. You have to fully break up with them. And again, Roxanna, no, you have to fully break up with them because the energetic entanglement is just it keeps every time you're like ready to move on, ready to walk away, like you're in another fucking meeting with them and you're estrangement. You need to move out of your ex's apartment. Like get out. Really, really, really. You have to close the door so that you can walk into another one.
Yeah, unfortunately, it has to be more of a hard close because I've been like, hey, you can delete my accounts. That's fine. But that's like too soft. I just need to be like, okay, I'm not going to be available anymore.
What's the hard? Yeah, and what's the okay? Let's play a game. Okay, hard close. Give me the soft version of the hard close.
So the hard close would be, I can't work for you anymore. I don't have time. I don't need to make up a reason. That's it. Um, the soft close would be like, yeah, so like I have this other th other stuff going on now, so I'm not going to be as responsive. I might not
Okay.
be available. So just
And
don't
that's
count
sort
on
of what you're
those.
doing now,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Let's go one step beyond the hard close. A final hard close would be, hey, just letting you know that as of June 1st, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Like, that's me with a nail, okay? Like, dong, 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 like, okay? As of 5 p.m. and 00 seconds, like, I will just giving you a heads up that I have taken on a few, you need to manifest these things, right? I've taken on a few new clients, and so therefore I will no longer have bandwidth. It has been wonderful working with you. Thank you so much. In the meantime, I'll see you at next Thursday's meeting, but just as a reminder, June 1st at 5 p.m. and 31 seconds, I will be gone. Okay, then what happens? May 28th, 2 days before, 3 days before. Hi, all. Benjamin again. As a reminder, June 1st, da da da. Please delete all of my accounts, or I will no longer be checking my accounts. Is there an email that you'd like in the auto reply that I will be setting up? Like, final, like, the truck is here. I'm taking my boxes out and we're never going to see each other again. Okay. What does that look like? Give me an example.
Yeah. We have a meeting on the calendar like first week of June. And I've already said I'll go to it because I skipped the last one.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I guess it would be like in advance of that meeting, just like this is the last one, and just and I have probably 50 logins and plus my email. So like again, please delete those because I don't want to be liable. Like if something gets compromised, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. Great. And then what will you have to do to feel like, is there a like the equivalent of where do I mail my key? Like, what's the, like, do they have someone taking care of this? And they probably don't, but like,
Oh, yeah. So that would be please close our Upwork contract.
great. I mean, Benjamin, like, I really think that, you've been talking about this, because the thing is, the wound is still open. And every time you meet with them, they're friendly, but they're just still not giving you what you need. And so every time it's just these little, I'm sure after every meeting, you're like, go to your partner, you're like, oh, you know?
Yeah, no, seriously.
So, okay. I wish we could keep going, but we're at time. And I want to make sure Roxana has enough time. Benjamin, you're such a special person. Like, literally, like, I'm so impressed with how you stood up for your coworker. Like, that it doesn't happen. You're rare. Okay. So I know we talked about a lot, but like, what would be maybe one like emotional observation that you're having, and then what's like one action item that you're going to do? I hope I know what the action item is.
Yeah. I guess the emotional thing is like I don't I don't need to like apologize or change for like having integrity and like and also that's not a part of myself that's reasonable to expect to change at this point. Um, and then yeah, action item is um yeah, just shooting that email and you close the stuff, last meeting. This is it. And then but like more importantly, like just like continuing to massage my network, continuing to um you know, follow the slight leads that exist. Like, oh, you mentioned so and so needed a website. Maybe we should talk about that. Just continuing to do that thing, just continuing to get more clients, and also just like not expecting another full-time job to work out. maybe my job search focus needs to shift a little bit.
I would flip it. I would do 80% your own stuff, 20% like if a job comes up, And then I think like yeah, I feel like you're hold on. I was gonna say something. 1 second. I feel like getting in front of people and like talking to them is going to be more useful than like cold emails. None of that is going to work, But I think that massaging your network and letting them in on your story a little bit, because like if you frame it correctly, right, you're kind of at this really exciting inflection point where you're like, you know what, I've been freelancing. Like this can be, I'll just make up a story, right? The story could be like, I've been freelancing for the past 10 years, but like now I've really decided to focus on it. It's just something I love. And talking about what you love, right? You saying like, I just realized like the one thing I love is like really working with business owners and like helping them grow and like, just helping them with whatever they need and being that kind of like generalist for them in the early stages. Like that's what I love. And so I am like starting conversations, and like you always want to show social proof, right? So you want to be like, I already have like 3, 4 clients, but I'm just trying to see like maybe I could get that up to like 6 or 7, and then I could like work for myself full time, let people into the story, and then they'll be like, oh my God, that's awesome. That's so cool. Well, I'll definitely let you know, and then they might need help. And then also like one thing that just occurred to me is like if you really do this and if you put your energy into it, you will make more money doing your own thing than working for someone else. This like next year will be very inconsistent and like difficult, but once you get into the groove, like you will make as much if not more, and you'll be able to set your own hours, and you're not going to have to deal with the bullshit. I mean, new set of bullshit, but at least it's like bullshit on your terms.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like concerned about getting to that point. Like, I don't have enough savings, you know what I mean? So it's complicated for sure, but that absolutely should be the focus.
Okay, Roxana, I want to give you a chance to kind of share some observations.
Are you sure? Benjamin, let me just tell you something. I wish I could have worked with someone like you, even though I did have that in some ways when I was transitioning out of this nonprofit I was at. It was like by the time the new leader came and she wasn't toxic and she was great, that stuff is still in you. And it takes so long to process out that I couldn't even, like, I was done with it and couldn't appreciate it anymore. And I think because you didn't get a break from working, and we don't give ourselves that. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to pay my bills because then this is going to happen. My husband, my wife is going to say this. So it's like, I can understand why you feel this pressure, like, oh, well, I got to find something else. But it's like that stuff is still in us until we process it out. And it's like when Coach Mandy was like, you need a break. I was like, yes, because we think that like, have you heard when people are breaking up with their boyfriend or girlfriend? And they're like, yeah, we're still best friends. And I'm like, why? Why are you still friends with them? That's stupid. Like, get out, leave them alone. And because think about it. If someone's offensive to you, and you'll be like, some of the things you get used to it. So even when they're offensive, you're like, oh, that's just Barb. Like, I get it. But it's still affecting you. So every time they keep jabbing you, and you'll be like, it's killing your soul. That's what it is. Like, it's killing your soul. So you were talking about like standing up for someone. And I was just like, you felt like you weren't valued because yeah, you're a great person and you expect everyone to operate that way. And then here's somebody that's close to the person can actually say something and make change, and they don't. They're not a great person. Like, I'm sorry. They're not a great, even though people think they're so great, it's like great in words. I can appreciate it to a certain extent, but it's like I don't want to work like that either. If I see evil stuff, I have to call it out. I'll be like this, sitting on my hands, like, no, girl, mind your business. No, you can't be treating people like that. And like, what's wrong with you? So it's like, shake it off. And I know it's like people will look at you and be like, well, you can't even pay your bills. You'll have peace of mind. And once you get that out of the way, because if they're not giving you a chunk of 10 hours a week or whatever, why are you being the person of integrity when they're not even right anyways? And even if they are, you want that 10 hours for somebody else that could pay you more. And you can't do that when you're still like tied to them. But I also have time that I've spent like that. So it's like I have like, and Mandy put us together for a reason, because I went through this for a year of, no, I need to find a full time. I need to find a full time. You get so obsessed with it that it's kind of like you're so desperate. The universe isn't, they're like, oh, you're not ready anyway. So it's like once you let it go and you're like, you know what, they really suck. That's when you'll be like, anyways, let me just go do something else, do this, do that. And I think getting like the job I'm at, it's only 22 an hour. I sit there and just process cases all day. But that's what I needed to do to like get my mind together. I didn't have to really interact with anyone but a crazy colleague. But she would yap and talk, and it was fine. It wasn't anything too heavy, too serious. She wasn't rude to me, just a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. But it was like, it was what I needed for the year to reset. So hopefully you'll find that like either you go to Starbucks, something that's fun for you. Like I like stapling stuff and having nice pens to write with. So it was like fun for a season, but it's like, okay, all right, y'all, I need to go. I need to go work on my business. And I even told them that like I'm not mad at anything. I don't, but it's like it's okay to say that. And I feel like a lot of times I did what you said, like make a whole long, lofty letter. And then one time I was fed up with a client that was really asking for like 30 hours for a 10-hour week and still had the nerve to like dig on me about it. And I remember watching Coach Mandy's video and she was like, if someone's giving you weird vibes, just walk away. You don't have to work with them. And it's like, it just turned on. So it's like, it's not, everyone's not going to be perfect and you're not going to understand all the things, but you are perfect. Like we think that we have to be this certain way and you don't have to be that way. You just have to show up the way you want to show up. And if people don't like it, if it doesn't vibe, I'm going to just keep it moving. It's fine. So anyways, I think you're great. I'm glad that somebody got to work with someone like you, because you are an encouragement now for other people who see messed up stuff, because we're not really taught to stand up to people in the workplace. We just let these terrible people like do and say and be nasty and celebrate it. It's disgusting. But yes, you are a great person. And I know it's like a transition because your partner will be disappointed, because if you can make more money, it's like, why? But also I'm just like, every system has its own thing with it. And if you're not cut for the system anymore, it's kind of like, why are you going to keep abusing yourself?
Yeah. And I just want to add to that, because like also Benjamin, like as Roxana was talking, I had this vision of like, you literally, there's like a energetic cord, like a vampire cord, where they're sucking energy out of you. It's like emotional energy. They're like sucking it. And you were like, okay, I'm out, I'm leaving. And then they were like, just a second. And then they like caught you. Yeah. And so when you said estrangement, at first I was like, what does that word mean? That's a big word. And then I was like, oh, okay. I know what you mean, which is cutting the tie, which is like, we don't talk. We don't see each other. We don't hang out. Like we're not in each other's energy. And I feel like right now you have, rightfully so, a lot of thoughts around like, okay, but the bills, and like, I don't have many savings, and like all the real stuff. Right. Yeah. But when you leave this energetic vampire situation, like you're going to feel so free. You're going to, like, you're also going to be scared AF. That's normal. Okay. But you're going to leave and you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't realize how stuck in the past I was just by like continuing to be alongside this company, you know, because as Roxana said, like they already told you, they already showed you that they weren't cool. Like they already showed you that, but then you're just still hanging out. And so it's almost like you are not in integrity because you told yourself, I won't put up with that. I'll put up with it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
a
like
good
bringing
point.
it's estrangement, but it's bringing yourself into integrity and being like, no, I mean it, even if it hurts, even if it means that I have to go get some stupid part-time job. Like I can't do that to myself, you know?
Because I think even if like sometimes people know that they know you have good energy, so they're keeping you there for your ideas, or well, if so and so is here, he always makes everyone act better. So even though we don't like him and we don't like that, they'll keep. People are really sick and demented though. Like that's the thing
if
that people
something
do in the
breaks, then
workplace.
Benjamin can fix it. Let's keep him on in case, because he's the only one who knows
Knowing
all
that
the
they don't like you and
passwords.
they're going to treat you bad. Yeah, it's like a whole sick thing. Or I it's a lot of things that I've gone through that I put in the back of my mind, but it's just like that's probably some of what you're feeling too. It's not you. Like you'll think, oh no, I'm like, oh, I'm too sensitive, I'm too this. People really play sick games in the workplace and we don't really even call it out a lot.
It's true. It's
They
true.
like
Okay.
having the mean
I want to,
person. I'm sorry.
sorry. I just want to, because I want to make sure you have enough time, Roxanne.
Yeah.
Okay. So Benjamin, any final thoughts before we
No, just thank you, and I appreciate you both so much. And like this is just amazing. I can't wait to hear about Roxana, where you're coming from, and yeah, just excited to keep talking.
Okay, awesome. Okay, why don't we take a quick like 4-minute break? We'll come back at 25.
Okay.
And
I
then
gotta let you go.
we'll start with you, Roxana, okay?
Okay. All right.
Okay. See you guys in a minute.
Yay.
Yay.
All right.
So hopefully that gave you an idea of what to expect.
Well, hopefully I have you've helped me already so much. But I do have okay. Shaking it up in my head.
Yeah. Let's wait for Benjamin and then we can start.
My dog was like barking to come inside. She wanted to talk to you guys.
Does she want to? I mean,
Foxy, come here. You want to come on the camera? She's a funny little dog. She's like yappity yappity dog. But she's very shy. Look, she's like, why are you holding me up here? You know I don't like the camera.
is she a teacup dog? Is that what they're called?
Oh no. She's a roly poly. She's a Yorkie.
Oh, huh.
She's so mad. She's just like, please don't. No eye contact. Yeah, she's a regular size Yorkie. She's like 10, 11 pounds.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything. I'm a cat person. I love dogs, but I don't know anything about them because I've never had one. But I like really connect with them energetically, but I don't know anything about like breeds or sizes. I'm just making stuff up.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, cats. My daughter had a cat. My oldest daughter, got her a kitten so that she can learn responsibility. Now she's very yappy, and that cat attacked her all the time. It would like claw her ankle.
Cats are their own little.
Allie was nuts.
They're nuts and they only want things on their terms. So, okay. All right. Well, welcome back. Okay. So Roxana, so excited to be working with you. Why don't you start by just sharing, what's on your mind and what has been brewing in that beautiful brain?
Yes. So, like I had kind of said in the beginning, I was with an organization for about 6 years, a nonprofit. It was a lot of stress because it was only 4 employees, maybe 2 consultant. So it was a lot of weekends because we did mental health stuff. And I was at burnout. My mom had died while I was there. COVID happened while I was there. Transition of leadership happened when I was there. So it was like just a lot. And after my mom died, everything just went dark. I gained weight. I was really miserable because she was like not everything because I have a family, but everything because she was my friend. We went to church together. We did volunteer stuff together, clean people's houses together. So it was like she was like one of those people that if someone needed something, she'll like try to get it. She's always supporting events. So it was such a big part of my life that it was definitely a hole. And when when I was at this organization, we had a very toxic leader. Everyone knew she was toxic. No one said anything to her about it. And I think at my max, I had like said something one time. She had called me and she was like, "Would you like to explain this?" And I was like, "I don't know what you want me to say." And then she was like, you could say something. And I was like, "Well, I don't know what you want me to say." And I like kept it was so toxic. But at the end, we got a new leader and she was great. Andrea, great person. She taught me about dream time. Self-care isn't selfish. It's like all the things I talk about now is because this lady took time and was like, "You're actually smart. You're a great person." And I was like, "Who is she?" Like, she's such a good person that everyone she's with, they love her. I don't know anyone who's been like, "Oh my God, she's such." No, she's genuinely a good person. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a lot of the mindset that Benjamin has. When she's as an executive director, when she sees stuff that's not right or evil, she would speak out against it. And it was refreshing because I didn't have that. If you had a good idea, she would not make fun of it. She'd be like, "Well, how can we make it happen?" And you'd be like, "Okay, where's the punchline? What are you about to say?" And she'd be like, "No, we'll have a budget. I'm gonna get the budget for you." And blah, blah. And I'd be like, so it was a good experience. I stayed there with her for 3 of the 6 years. And we had even cahoots together. We were going to quit around the same time. But I understood she's a leader. She had to stay there. I was done with them. I had a board meeting that was just so toxic and evil that I was like, I'm done with this. So was looking for jobs. Everyone told me no. And then I found one like a week or two before I was supposed to leave. So I was so happy. Then another offer came in. I was like, "Oh, this is great." But guess what? I don't need your offer because I already have one offer. Took the first offer because it was the money I wanted. And I don't think I really knew what toxic was till I went to that place where the leader was making fun of other people,
Oh no.
says like rude little snippety stuff. I had went through a biopsy that like a breast biopsy that flagged as abnormal.
Oh no.
And I just remember hearing cancerous or blah, blah. And my brain went blank, y'all. I'm not even kidding. And I just remember being like, "Oh, I'm going to have to take time off. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do that." And really just made me think about life different. Even in, I meant to say this. My husband had went through prostate cancer when I was at Black Mental Health Alliance. A lot of stuff happened at this other place. So going to this new place, I was like so excited. My new big girl job, got the money I want, but their expectations around hours, um, like I said, the mean spiritedness as a joke. And I remember I forgot to take the boss's lunch that she had forgot in the fridge, and I didn't complete something on time, or I did not check off the things that was in our kind of like Asana to check off stuff. And she was like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on with you, but um you need some help." And I was just like, "Okay." So I already knew the writing was on the wall. She did some weird stuff where she told everyone to go home, and she told everyone to go home for the day, and it was like a nice sunny day, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna just leave. So she was like, yeah, you left. They wrote a whole nasty gram to me, y'all. One of the last days when I was about to leave. And I was an executive assistant. So they were like, oh, you left on this day without permission. After one of the coworkers had told me, oh, so-and-so gave us the day off. Well, it was like a list of 3 things. You wrote an email that said, don't, you had to cancel this email and that wasn't right. And from now on, you're going to have to report to this older lady who just, she was an evil witch, for lack of a better word. And so they were like, I would have to report to her every day, right? So I said, what the? I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this. I'm done. So then I was like, no, 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 you need to be strong. You need to learn the reason of this because, this is your big girl job. And I remember I was talking to my oldest son on the phone. I have 4 kids that are all big now, but they're adults. And this was about 2 years ago. So Tony, I don't know, Tony was maybe 23, 24. And I'm like explaining to him how they were making fun of this one person and how she was talking. I remember what it was now. She was talking to me and said, your kindness is not going to save you in this situation. And I was like, who says that to somebody? Because she was berating me. It's a couple times a week. She would berate me in her office. And I was just like, how you're just so stunned somebody can say, I don't know.
So stunned.
Like, I was like this, y'all. And she was like, your kindness is not going to save you. And I was like, noted. This one, I'm going to have to find something else. So I was telling my son what she did. And he was like, yeah, so you're not going back in there, right? And I was like, no, son, I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to do it. And he was like, you old folks don't know what you're doing. Like, why are you going back in there? And I was like telling him, and he was like, okay. The next day I would pull up to the parking lot. I couldn't get out the car. I was just like this. I'm going in. Okay, in this next minute. And then I was like, you know what? Just go get your stuff and stop being. So I packed up all my stuff because I was the first one always there. So one of the guys had seen me in the parking lot. He was like, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. I didn't berate her. I just was like, this isn't for me. And he was like, no, you need to think about it. Don't you need to pay your bills? I was like, yeah, but I'm about to go to the bar. About to sit at our house is like a coffee shop. They have like different stuff in this. It's a community, I guess, space where it's like a bar. It's like I wasn't drinking in the morning, but I just went there and I worked all day. Then we had drinks midday. I'm not gonna lie, but I had just decided that was it for me. My last day. Went away on vacation and came back and found a part-time job at a union, and it really did serve for what it was supposed to be. I had a little bit of extra money. I had already had some clients before I had, over the years, just picking up people. So I had like 2 clients and I was like, well, I think I can do okay. And I cut back all my stuff. So I was able to transition that. But this past year, because it would have just been a year in, I think May 15th, I would have been a year at this other organization. I just was like, applying to a whole bunch of stuff and kept getting denials. And my last one, y'all, this job was like my dream job. Like it was the money, more than the money I wanted. It's right down the street. I don't have to go through the toll. So the commute should have been like maybe 15, 20 minutes. And I made it through all the application rounds. It was like 3 or 4 application rounds. And I was like, I'm going to get this. And the lady was like, yeah, there's the recruiter who got me, there's no one else, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, they said they have someone else. And she's like, no, they don't, not with us anyway. So I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Like maybe I'll even give my 2 weeks. This is going to be so great. I'm going to have actually money and I can pay off all my stuff. And a day or 2 went by, then 3 days. And then I found out I didn't get it. And I cried. So I don't think I cried over a job that hard in a while. I was like walking out to my car, just like, and the next day I came back because I worked 3 days in office at my part-time. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to keep applying to things for people to tell me I'm not good enough because I don't have, I'm finishing my health degree now. So I have like a couple more semesters. I worked in community stuff. I have all these mental health certificates. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're never going to be that thing for whatever it is people are looking for. That's not going to be me. And I don't know if it's because of the organization I was in. They were dealing with marginalized communities, especially in this environment. Whatever it was, I just was like, just let it go. Like, you're not going to find new clients until you really buy into yourself. You're not going to get and I was listening to you and this other creator that was talking about when you're so desperate, oh, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take, like, you actually repel that, it's like a low vibration. So I was going through researching all of this stuff because then I was like, what is even a vibration? So I came to the point of knowing, like, in a day, that no, I don't need to apply for anything else. I'm going to start really focusing on a business. Then I was like, oh, well, wouldn't it be smart if I built up what Gary already was doing, but he's not really doing a lot, and we have an operations branch? Then I was like, and you know what? I don't need to be here in this office, because even if I want to have a meeting, I can't do it because then so and so is always talking and blasting her music. And I'm at the point now where I need quiet, like my own quiet time to think, create. So my creating would be like we were talking about my blog and stuff. So I just needed time to do that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to leave this alone and really trust and know that it's something better for me out there. And then it's like I had it when I was journaling one morning, I could like hear the a spirit tell me, like, I have bigger stuff for you, but you're not gonna get that until you let this go. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get my 2 weeks. And that's where I am now. Some of where I am is like being scared. Like, I still have moments where I'm not doing things perfect. So it's like, oh my God, am I gonna get fired? Is this gonna happen? And then it's like every time that's happened this past couple of weeks, it's been like, no, you're good. Like, it's, take a deep breath. It's okay. We just need to do this, this, and this. And I'll be like, okay. So I'm at the point now where it's like, how can I like really grow and be creative and still work in my, because my business is going to still be a lot of administrative stuff, a lot of operations background. um how can I flow in that and grow and do something big and I guess great for me? It may not be
Yeah.
great in like the span of the universe, but great for me.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I noticed is that you already have a very strong connection to the voice, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's spirit or if it's your higher self or your the voice that tells you, hey, we have all these big plans for you, but you're not going to get it until you like let go, basically. So you already have a very strong relationship, because every time you hear that voice, you don't fight it. You just say,
Sometimes I
okay.
do.
Well,
Sometimes I do.
but it's okay in the by and large, it seems like
Yeah.
you, of course you fight it, but then you do listen, or you want to listen. You trust it, right? So what is the, and you said this is happening in 10 days. That's what you said.
Oh
So
yeah.
what exactly is happening? You're
So I
done.
had
You're
given notice for 2 weeks, but then they were like they needed someone to help coverage because my
okay.
coworker is leaving. So it ended up being a month. So it was like at the beginning of May till now, covering the office. So I'll no longer be trekking because we had a in Baltimore we had a bridge collapse. So like literally something that would only take you 15-20 minutes is taking like an hour, hour and a half. So in my mind I was like, at least I can save on
Yeah.
the commute.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
now all the different routes are being used because this one place is
But
down.
so in 2 weeks, like you're officially on your,
Yeah, I'm done. I don't have
okay.
to travel
Okay.
up there because they're in person still. Yeah. And
Okay.
then I already have enough clients that I'll be making more than I was even at my other organization at the nonprofit. So it's like, but then I still got to figure out taxes.
Okay. So the question was, how can I be more creative, or how can I be, help me frame the question. Let's frame a very tight question.
I guess I'm trying to like still be my better self. And some of the ways that I'm trying to get there, sometimes I think it's not effective, I guess.
What's an example of not effective?
Like, I think of like my morning routine. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Like getting up early, journaling, doing some kind of exercise. Like this past week, I really struggled because, or last week, I really struggled because I didn't do some of my work for the client. So I was like scrambling, which means if I wake up, I'm not going to do some of the things. I'm going to just go ahead and go right into work. And I'm trying not to get to burnout.
And what is the nature of the work that you do for clients? You said it was
So right
administrative.
now I'm doing like administration, so following, making sure that somebody's responding to their emails. I have a book tour that I'm creating for somebody. Then I also have
You
like,
said event planning. Okay.
yeah, some event planning stuff and support. So it's like and maybe that's also not good for me to be so into everything. And I think I did that because I kind of was like, oh, well, yeah, I can do it. I need the money. I can do it.
Okay. So in my mind, all of these things are very creative naturally. So tell me where it feels like a little dangerous, like, oh, I might get stuck in the weeds and then I'm disconnected from my creative self, or like what's like a example that you're kind of scared might happen. You mentioned burnout.
Yeah, I think the burnout and just having the boundaries with the hours, because it's still like when you're dealing with small businesses, they can only afford a certain amount. You want to get as much done as you can in the best, give the best and show up in the best ways.
Okay.
Does that mean you charge like a flat fee and then the hours can vary?
Right. So for one person it is like that. Like she can do 10, and she's asked me before, oh, well, how many hours did you actually work on that? And I was like, well, actually it was more, but I know that's what we agreed on. So I knew I had to get it finished, so I just did it. And she was like, oh no, don't do that again. But it's like it's another client where he's only doing a certain amount and he still wants more. So it is kind of hard trying to like be in balance with that.
Okay. So tell me the typical like if we were to map it out, okay, what would be the map to like the surefire way to Roxana's burnout? Like what are some of the ingredients?
I think this week, just not having that time to like decompress. Even like I went to bed late because I was cleaning up all evening doing stuff. And then it's like, oh my God. Like it was to the point where I make fun of someone that I live with who has meltdowns. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm acting just like this person because I didn't get to like decompress. I didn't get to like get my stuff ready. And now here I am. It's 11 o'clock. And well, and it was just like, and I saw myself in it, and it still was like I'm just blurting out stuff, I'm slamming stuff, and I just was like, I don't want to be like that. But
Yeah.
it's like,
Okay.
oh, I don't know.
Well, because you're just going to be starting this business, right? And so
Yeah,
you like this is what I try to tell people about running your own business. It's like you are the asset.
yeah,
Like you are like, okay, so we don't have machines anymore, right? Because you're essentially doing knowledge work.
yeah,
So but you have to think of yourself as like in the olden times, there's like cranks and like, it's like the machine needs to be taken care of because you are the asset. And so if you are feeling like, I'm not really keeping a boundary, or I'm not having the schedule, or like things are kind of going really fast and I have like all this stuff due, and then I'm staying up late, which means I'm sleeping in more, which means I'm not journaling, like the whole thing goes off the rails.
Yes.
And then of course, if you're just trying to keep up, right, then there's zero creativity because you're just like running around with your head cut off and like trying to respond to client emails. And because also you're in client services, which is very much like the same reason that you're good at it is the same reason that you'll burn out.
Right. You are so good at your job. Yes.
Because like you're anticipating everybody's needs. You're thinking about what needs to happen. You're doing all those pieces. There's so much in your mind, you know, but the machine could just overheat and then just die. Like it just stops working, you know?
Yes.
So, okay. Do you feel like this is, okay, let's just take a temperature check. Like, do you feel that this is the primary thing, or is there something else that's like brewing, some other thoughts that are coming up as we're talking about it?
I think it's something else brewing bigger than I'm supposed to be doing too. I don't know what it is yet, though. So it's like, because it's like I didn't leave, or I'm not leaving to go into like the same kind of setup of work, work, work. And one of the things that I realized in not getting this this position that I just thought was going to be the end of all my problems is I literally was like, I don't want to be that person that's working like 12-hour days. And it's summertime is my season. Like I want to be outside, go for my walks, go to the pool if I want to. So it was just like, that was really a godsend, even though I didn't feel that a couple months ago. But just like, what am I supposed to be doing? I used to love my fitness stuff. It's so many different things that I could do. So it's just like, but I do love doing what I'm doing now. I love like being that piece that, oh, well, Roxana just called and then this happened. And yeah, look, she did it all. And I'll be like, I don't know. It's like my little check mark. So I do like a part of that as well.
Well, you're a very inspirational person, and you have this like high energy, and you have this bright light. So that's definitely a part of it.
Thank you.
And I feel like you're not afraid of very much. I mean, I feel like you could just be like, oh, let me try that. Let me do this. Let me get
right. And then it'll be like, that was so silly, girl. Why'd you do it? Oh, well, go on to the next thing. You know, I'll probably beat myself up, but it's like, I mean, you win some, you lose, or, you know, I'll just be like, okay, it didn't work and keep it moving.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like this like you going out on your own is just almost the mechanical step that's happening, where it's like the next logical thing is like, and already I think that's a huge breakthrough that you are able to say to yourself, like, no, you know what, like there's something here, and that you were already able to basically make more than what you were making before. Okay. So all of this is proof that like really whatever you decide to do, it's gonna work eventually.
Yeah.
What is what, and you've worked in nonprofit, and you've worked for these sort of like cause-driven organizations, right?
Yeah.
So what do you, okay, here's like a big question, then you can decide how granular you want to get, but like, when you think about healing and like the healing that you want to see in the world, like what are some of the, how are you going to heal people, places, communities, groups? Like how are you going to heal? Because I mean you're gonna do it in your work, right? In the very easy way of like, oh, this person needs a book tour and I'm going to put together like the loveliest book tour and it's going to be so cute and it's going to be like hit all the spots and it's going to be great. And you're going to create magic within that. But I'm thinking like bigger. What are some of the things that are important to you?
I think like it took a lot for me to start the blog, which you inspired me to do, because one of the things that I hate is like for somebody to have went through something and like they didn't learn anything, no one else learned anything, and it just kind of goes off into the nowhere space. So it's like at
they
least
didn't learn anything is so
right.
funny to me.
So it's like kind of doing something where it's like at least the things that I've been through have served some kind of purpose.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I started like being so personal with the blog, because one of the things that I really liked about your content is that it was real and it wasn't like this superficial thing. So I think that's the way that I can heal, is like being real in the stuff that I go through, because some of it is embarrassing. Like, I even remember I was telling one of my friends and my mentor that like when I was at this other nonprofit that was like really toxic, I was like, no, I did make mistakes, girl. Like I did this, and this. And she was like, ooh. She was like, well, at least you know where you messed up at. I was like, I do know where I messed up at. Where I get messed up sometimes, I think, with people is like, you can't give any grace. Like, you don't have to respond that way. So that's like one of the things that hopefully I can create in the world, is like, I want to be this good, kind person that shows up. So like the next time when you go through, hopefully that's the way you'll respond to that person. But I know that's not like a real thing in like the scheme of working and all that, but it's like that is definitely part of it. I don't know if that makes sense.
That does make sense. I hear you, because I think you're in the unfolding, you're in the process where you've decided to take this big leap. And I mean, I already know your whole life is going to be like totally different a year from now. We don't know what it will be,
Yeah.
but I feel like you're going to be brave, and I feel like you're going to be humble and funny, and like you're going to just move through it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, why don't you take a minute, and can you take that original question, which was around like creativity, and can you either expand on it, or can you let's try to either go deeper or in a little bit of a different direction, like just based on what we've talked about so far. Just write down some ideas of like what's coming up, what's bubbling up for you.
I got three things.
Okay.
So no burnout, still have a personal connection, and real personal growth.
What does personal Okay. Can you share an example of like a time when you had a great personal growth, and like what was that experience like for you?
Um, I really think it was this most recent one. Oh, let me think. I think this most recent one with the job had taught, with not getting the job that I thought I was going to get, because I was so ready to like lose myself and just like go do this thing that seems so great for a whole bunch of worldly reasons, like just so readily being a sellout had made me see like maybe that's, girl, you still got some roots to get into, because I know a lot of other people, they'll be like, oh hell no, they're paying all that money for a reason, like all the reasons that I know, but I just was like so enamored with it that I was like willing to not listen to myself and do it. And I do get scared that I'll get caught up in that again.
What were the little, like, take us to that moment, like what were the little stories that you were telling yourself, like, oh my gosh, you're finally gonna be able to like,
Because it's been a year of like being scrappy, of canceling, like, I don't know, whatever extra little TV
no, I
show
get
things
it.
I had, and like deciding if Peloton was a necessity for the month, like just all the things, like
The choices.
yeah, like, or even struggling like to pay insurance and stuff, but like every time I would, I'd be like, oh my god, thank you, like I actually got to pay my bill, I didn't have to ask anyone for money, just like having that extra breathing room. So I just was like, I mean, okay, I'm gonna be truthful to you guys. And I also thought about stuff I could buy. So it was like so much superficial things that I had already overcome. So it was like, for me to go back there was like eye-opening. It just made me think like, girl, you're just so silly. Like, why? Like, you've been here before. That was the thing. So that's like now why I think I'm just so like, you need to be serious. Like the kind of person I want to be. Like I'm 47 now. I don't want to like keep learning the same lessons and like,
What is the lesson? Articulate the lesson. Say the lesson out loud.
oh gosh, I don't, oh, what's the lesson? I think don't be so desperate. Cause I don't even know if I asked all the right questions. I just felt like I was so desperate and I should just be glad to take anything.
So desperate for, I
Like
mean,
acceptance, because this
the thing
meant
you
I was smart
described.
money. I was so great that this company, this sports team wants me. Like people are gonna look now, and I'm talking this out now, but like people are gonna look now and be like, see, she actually was good, or she actually was this thing. Like, even though I had already this year been talking to myself about that, like, oh, I think I'm about to cry. But I definitely was superficial and thinking like this was the greatest pat on the back. Like this is gonna really validate me, I guess.
Yeah. Like,
And I know better.
well, I think also what you talk about is, it's like, okay, so what you're describing is this sort of yearning, right? This yearning for universal appreciation of your greatness.
Yes, that's
Right?
exactly.
Like everybody's gonna know. Okay.
Like for real? Oh my God. Oh.
Oh, really? You work there? Right. Like, okay. We all want that, by the way. Like it, okay, so there's that. But then also the piece around like, you have had to, I've been there. I have been looking line by line at my spreadsheet, being like, do I really need to pay the $17.99? Because multiplied by 12, that could be $400 a year that I'm saving. And then, and I go through and I'm like, and while we can be very good at that, like that also is demoralizing.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
you're
it is.
like, get it together. Why are we still doing that? Like,
Yeah.
and it brings up these ideas around, scarcity
Yeah.
and like
Yes.
not having money and having to be like, how much money am I going to make this month so that I can, and so it's like those two things. And then
Yeah.
so if so this job, what this fake ass job represented
Yeah. Yes.
was literally a silver bullet solution for
Yeah.
everything.
For every, yes.
In
Yes.
in one go, not only would everybody respect me and everybody would know that I'd made it, but I also could just not worry about that stuff, and I could just go to Nordstrom, and not even Nordstrom Rack, but like Nordstrom proper,
Amen. Yes.
you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
and I could treat myself because I've been scrimping and eyeing my bills for so long.
Yeah.
And so so I get how you say, like, stop being so desperate. Like,
I just so like, oh, please, please, please like me, please. I like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then it's like once you get delivered from it and you're not thinking about it, like to go back there so quickly was just like,
well, no, but
wow.
here's the thing is like that golden ticket idea will keep, like, okay, here's what's going to happen, Roxana. You're going to start making momentum. You're going to get one more great client. And like, by the way, like running your own business is very hard, right? So it's going to be challenging. You are still going to be like, even if you're making money, it's just, you're unlocking new levels and you're also unlocking new challenges, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be tough. And then at a moment where, let's say a couple months from now, like stuff's happening, but it's still hard. Another golden ticket, silver bullet
Right.
job is going to materialize, you know? And you're going to have to resist the siren call of like, all your
Yes.
problems could be solved.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it's fake. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, I'm just going to share, like, I had to do that so much when I was building this business right now. This is going to sound crazy, but for a long time, I wanted to work at Salesforce.
That's not crazy.
No, but it's embarrassing because it's like the most, it's like well, okay, I guess I'm never doing a sponsorship with Salesforce now, but it's like but they're the most sellout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like their logo is Ohana, which is like cultural appropriation. Like, it's just
Right.
not right. And I applied so many times, like, I'm telling you. And then every time I would like make progress on my business and like really like getting new clients, like, oh, my little social stuff is growing, like, I would literally in a down moment be like, I'm just gonna apply to Salesforce again. And then I did that like 3 times. My husband was like, I don't think you'd even like working at Salesforce. And what are you gonna do there? You're gonna sell software? Like, you're not meant to sell software. Like, what are you doing? And then I kept doing it. And then finally, like a year ago, when when I had like a big TikTok, Salesforce reached out to me and they were like, we have a social media coordinator position. And would you like to, and it was like a recruiter being like, hi, we've seen your socials. Would you like to come work at Salesforce? And I literally was like, no.
I need that kind of growth.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, there's always going to be some stupid company that you think is going to come. Imagine if I had left all of this and just been like,
Right.
okay, guys, sorry, I'm going to go run Salesforce. Not even run. I'm going to go be a coordinator for Salesforce's social media. Like,
Right.
none of this would exist.
Right. And your impact. I think about my impact. Okay, I know this is going to sound terrible, but like I want to leave a legacy, not just be like.
It doesn't sound terrible. Like, you will leave a legacy.
Yeah, and I want it to be good. Like, oh, this person was doing things in the community. They always were, and it goes back to my mom, but always the best worker, and just being a good overall person.
What is the in 3 months your business is growing, but it's challenging because it's in that early stage. What is the dream job that could fall into your lap? It's 10 minutes from your house, is double what you're making, benefits, 401k. Like, what is this dream job?
Not gonna lie, if Google calls me, I am out of here. Okay. See, I told you I need help because I would.
No. I get it.
Okay. You're right. I would okay, you said it. No. But it would definitely because
You and I
I've been
cannot be
trying to.
working at Google and Salesforce. This is not.
I know, and you're right. Like, why? Because I keep applying. It's like so silly, but yes, that's my self-worth.
Okay. Okay. But take us through it. Take us through it.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
We have to burst the bubble of the corporate fantasy.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, because I'm not gonna be inside
So
in an
you
office.
go to Google, you get your badge. They're like, here's your cube. Here's the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah, I gotta keep.
Okay, here's your free food.
Oh,
But then what?
I gotta work like a. Yes, I'm gonna be
Then
back
what?
to 12-hour days because then you're working there and working at home and I'll be
What
miserable.
happens to your business?
Oh, I wouldn't have time.
What
I already
business?
know. Right.
What happens to your self-care?
I'm be
Actually,
out of shape,
maybe it's pretty good. Maybe it's pretty good.
sickly. They do have a gym there. Okay, maybe I'll work out. I don't know, but it definitely will be different. Yeah,
I'm telling you, you could have that life, but it's not necessarily better.
right.
It's actually not better.
It's not. I already know. I know these answers. But you
You are
asked me honestly, so I answered honestly.
okay. Let's play it all the way through. You're there for 2 years. You're making good money. You can go on vacation and fly like premium economy, like international. Okay, whatever. But what is still like nagging at you? Or you don't even care because now you've made it and it's fine. Or is there
But
still
I
something
think
that's like, but what about your legacy? What about your impact? Like,
right. It wouldn't be the same. It would just be me doing the same things over and over again, checking the same emails and then doing the same projects because I esteem to be like a project manager for them. So it just would be, I think it'll be this fulfilling thing, but it won't. It just will be a pat on the head and then I'll be like, all right, guys, I'm bored. Bye. Like, I could just see myself being like, y'all aren't that nice or smart like what I thought.
okay,
I don't know
okay.
that. I
So
think that's how it would be though. Like I would just be like disappointed. Like
one of the things you mentioned was real personal growth. So how's that doing?
right, because I'd be playing a game. Playing the corporate game at that point. Yeah,
Are you
because
how
for me to be there means I'm gonna have to have some concessions for me to survive and be like,
do you have it in you? Do you have one more round of the corporate game in you? Or do you
mm-mm. Heck no. I already know. Like I think if I was younger and I got a chance, which I'm even glad that I didn't then because I would have never seen my kids cuz like my husband that's one thing he had taught me like, you know, he was working and one day he was like I've never been to a track meet. I've not able to do all the cool things you're doing and I was like that was like eye opening to me like I'm sitting here wish I had your opportunities and stuff. So it was like that was eye-opening to me. Like I wouldn't have been able to be like a real mom the way I wanted to be. So I'm grateful like I got passed up. And I think now that you're asking me this makes me realize why I kind of wanted these positions is because I didn't get a chance to do it before because I knew I couldn't get a chance to do it before. So now if I do it, I'll be like proving something to myself really, but yeah, that's probably why I held on to like this idea of getting this big girl corporate
yeah.
kind of
So
get.
I was gonna come back to like the big girl job because I think that is a dream that we all have to
Yeah.
prove to ourselves, especially as moms and especially as like people who have had to give up parts of themselves to raise a family or to, just to, you get it, right? Like,
And no one asked me to do that. I did that because I knew that was something I needed to do. I couldn't reconcile that. No one made me do it. No one, my kids didn't guilt me into anything. So I literally was like, no, I can't. To
totally,
me, I couldn't reconcile it.
totally. I think the idea of the big girl job though is so appealing because it is part of that, like, could I have been like in an
Yeah.
alternate life, or like it's like proving to ourselves,
Yeah.
right? So I guess like the version of you who got to live out the big girl job life, like how do they feel? Do they feel
I think now I'm at peace with it because now, like you had just asked me, do you have that in you? No, I don't. I don't because it's like I can't even, I'm not going to sit and listen to people be talked to crazy. Or at one point, I was letting someone talk to me crazy, and it was like, oh, you could never go back to that now that you know that's not the way you should be operating. So it's like, I'm finally at peace with it, but it's taken me like 2 years, two
yeah,
years of, or a year, 1 year, because that was last year of it's okay. It wasn't in you to do these. I don't even know if it's challenging, but to live like that. So it's like I'm finally at peace with it.
yeah. And know that it'll be always a little bit of a pull, you know? You might find yourself in like a low moment applying to another job at Google just because it's a fantasy,
Yeah.
it's a gosh, this would sure make life easier.
Yeah.
What would you tell yourself in that moment if that happens again?
No, thank you. Like you said, you wanted to travel the world. You said you wanted to like do these big things for companies. They can contract me, but I'm not willing to stop my thing that I think is important now for somebody else anymore. Because I don't think I saw the value in it before.
What's the value now that you see?
I think for the clients I have now, like they not accepted, but like find so much value in me that I'm not willing to just throw that away for the coldness of a corporation anymore like I used to. That sounds terrible. But yes.
It's so perfect. It's so perfect. Okay. Um, I want to give Benjamin a chance to share some of his observations. What do you notice about Roxana, the way she carries herself, the way that she moves through the world? Like, what do you see for her?
Yeah, yeah. So you're a person who is has a lot to give and you're super warm and I can imagine being your coworker and like you would be the person who everybody is friends with. And like that type of person is so rare. Um and when you were talking about this coworker who is like diminishing kindness, like saying like the kindness is like a bad thing somehow. I was like, oh my gosh, that is like someone I know just said that, said, oh, so and so uses kindness as a weapon. And I'm like, why can't kindness just be kindness? Like, not everything is like manipulation. Um, so I definitely like hear you as far as wanting wanting that dream job. I actually went through that same thing, like made it to the second round interview. I thought I had the job, and then they were like, "We went with the other candidate." No explanation. It's like you even ask, like, "Is there something about myself that could be better, and they won't they'll never tell you anything. Um, and it's just that type of rejection actually hurts a lot. Like I never imagined, but like yeah, it's actually
Mhm.
very hurtful. Um, but there's I think there's something about that environment of just like having a stable job where there's like structured performance reviews or just more normalized people telling you you're doing a good job. Because like even in a super toxic job, there's still people telling you you're doing a good job and just like to motivate you to stay, whether it's like genuine or not. And I think it's really hard to go through the transition of being your own boss, and you don't get those constant dopamine hits of you're doing a good job, and you have to
Right.
like have the resilience to do it for yourself. That's actually super difficult. That's like one of the big adaptations that it seems like
Mhm.
I'm not there yet, and it seems like it takes, years to develop that.
That's helpful because maybe that is some of like my fear. Like, but then that's like I need to grow in that. Like, you don't need that because if it's not good, they will definitely let you know. So that's definitely a growth thing that I need to work on.
Well, Roxana will say you're doing a good job. And no, but also I think what the blog that you're doing, the blog is proof, right? So I think the mindset, or like the Benjamin, like you use the word like adaptation, right? Like I think the adaptation is that it moves from you're doing a good job, it moves from I'm making progress. I'm making
Mm,
progress. And I think like the blog may be a secret weapon, because that is you like recording your progress over time, because it's just these like, weekly or bi-weekly, however often you write, like snapshots of um how you're doing.
yeah,
And Benjamin, you're right. It's like there is actually no one to tell you you're doing a good job. And it's
yeah.
such a mind f, because you're just like, do I exist? Like, because you're just floating. But I think that having a system where you're recording yourself, I mean,
Mm,
that's honestly why I'm doing YouTube, and that's honestly why I write my blog, is because otherwise I would go insane. I would just think that nothing's changing, right? But if you can, I mean, my favorite pastime is to like read my own blog, because I like to go back and
probably
be
learn a
like,
lot. Yeah,
what was I thinking a year ago,
yeah.
And so that can be actually like, it sounds so sad, but sometimes you are your own best companion.
Mm, that's a good one.
So Roxana, why don't you take a moment and just think through like what is like an aha that you had, and then what is an action item that you're going to take away?
An aha that I had was why I was so connected to the idea of a big girl job. And I think the action item would be just remembering why I started my work and keep going, because that was definitely a big lure for me before. And my other aha was from Benjamin, actually, when he was talking about his experience. It made me think of not being valued and like the importance of being belonging, and how we really have to make sure um like every space has, like everyone belongs in every space, like how important that is, because even if we're not saying it, we're saying it. And it makes me think of my like my nephews and my nieces and how I want them to be like at school or at work, and how important it is, because I don't think I thought of it in that way before.
Awesome. Well, okay, guys, thank you for going over.
I'm sorry. Thank you for having us over.
Oh no, of course, of course. Okay, so yeah, I just want to say to both of you, like, thank you so much. This is a big thing that we did. And you guys both really showed up with so much honesty and self-awareness and humor and joy, and it's just been so great spending this time with you. I'll send you the Zoom link to the raw footage just so you have it. And then in the next couple of days, I'll edit this and upload it to YouTube.
Thank you. This was great. You guys helped me process so much, not stuff, just process so much. Thank you. Thank you.
For real. And I think a lot of it is just saying things out loud goes a long way to getting it out and away.
Yes. And I hope that you, Benjamin, I know I hope you think it's okay. I'll keep checking in with you because our paths are so similar, of course, because look at who we are listening to and following. So it's like hopefully we could be an encouragement to each other as well.
Seriously, we're going through a lot of the same stuff of just like
Yeah.
decision fatigue. What am I going to work on right now? And
Yeah.
how do you figure that out? How do you get up in the morning? It's a lot to navigate.
It's so true. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Have an awesome rest of the day. And I
Yes,
would love to hear updates from you as well. So please like email me, let me know how things are going.
Yes, thank you. Have a
Okay.
great rest of your day.
All right. Have a good one.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.